Racing games have been a staple in any good arcade for generations. Often presented in elaborate cabinets and using the latest technology available, they were a fantastic way to safely bring the thrill of racing to kids and adults alike. Capcom and Sega were titans of the arcade industry, known for both the games they produced and the hardware that underpinned them. You'd imagine then that a Capcom racing game on Sega hardware released in the 90s would be about as close to a sure thing as you could possibly get, right? Well, not exactly. Let's play a game here. Over the next few minutes, try and guess when Slipstream was released. This is a Capcom game that licensed the Sega System 32 arcade board, the same hardware that powered Sega-published titles like Alien 3: The Gun, Dark Edge, and Golden Axe: The Revenge of Death Adder. In fact, Slipstream was the only third-party game that the board was ever licensed for. This is an F1 game, so there are branded elements dotted throughout the game to add authenticity to the atmosphere. You'll speed past advertisements for brands like Mobil 1 and Foster's, though the cars you drive are relatively nondescript, with names like Shooting Star or Powerful Monster. They're descriptive, but not exactly true to the sport. Visually, they're fairly similar, outside of the colour scheme, but provide some minimal differences in terms of speed and handling. The gameplay is very basic. Acceleration and brake, low gear, and high gear. You have a limited number of turbos you can activate in each race. Driving behind another car for a few seconds triggers the Slipstream maneuver, providing a temporary boost along with the requisite scream from the announcer. There are 4 tracks to race on: Germany, Japan, Australia, and Monaco. They all feature landmarks in the background unique to that particular region. It's always fun seeing Australia in games, though the geography is a little strange. Who knew that the Opera House and Uluru were so close to one another? Wait a second. Where have I seen that before? You fly down the open road until suddenly Uluru appears on the horizon. This would indicate that you're now driving through Alice Springs in the Northern Territory. That's around 2,836 kilometres, or 1,762 miles, away from the Sydney Opera House. This is a late-generation superscaler title, so visually it shows off the maturity of that particular style of presentation. In a similar manner to games like Outrunners, there are significantly more detailed background objects and special effects compared to early examples of superscaler games like Hang On. You'll occasionally see some neat touches, like the lighting change when you drive through a tunnel. In general, though, it's a fairly basic looking game that isn't exactly pushing the boundaries of arcade hardware. Okay, so let's go back to that first point. When did this come out? Let's put some context here from other superscaler games. Outrun was 1986, Galaxy Force 2 was 1988, Outrunners was 1993. Okay, lock in your guess. Got it? Wrong. Slipstream was released in 1995. I say released, but in reality it was a very limited prototype distribution in Latin America. The project never went past this point, likely because everyone realised just how far behind the ball the game was. Imagine seeing this game in an arcade next to something like Ridge Racer, which had been released in 1993. Slipstream is a strange game whose existence is just confounding. It's not a surprise that the game never saw a wide release. It would have been laughably dated by the time it made it to most arcades. Maybe one day Capcom will take another stab at an F1 game. Until then, it's probably a good thing that this one was kept largely under wraps.